الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والحمد لله ولي الصالحين، الحمد لله حمدا يوافي نعمه ويكافئ مزيده، والحمد لله بما علمنا من الحمد لله. الحمد لله الذي هدانا لهذا وما كنا لنهتدي لولا أن هدانا الله، ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله هو الواحد الأحد الفرد الصمد الذي لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد، ونشهد أن سيدنا ونبينا وحبيبنا ومرشدنا محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله تعالى عليه وعلى آله وأهل بيته الطاهرين الطيبين وعلى أصحابه غر الميامين، والسلام على من اهتدى بهديه وتسنى بسنته وتمسك بشريعته إلى يوم الدين. سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم. اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما. ألف ألف صلاة وسلام عليك يا سيدي يا أبا القاسم يا رسول الله. ألف ألف صلاة وسلام عليك يا سيدي يا أبا القاسم يا حبيب الله. ألف ألف صلاة وسلام عليك يا سيدي يا أبا القاسم يا نور الله. أشهد أنك قد بلغت الرسالة وأديت الأمانة ونصحت الأمة ومحوت الظلمة وكشفت الغمة وجاهدت في الله حق جهاده حتى أتاك اليقين. صلوا عليك الله يا عالم الهدى مع حبة النسائم وما ناهض بغيك الحمائم. أما بعد, brothers and sisters in Islam, before I start the talk, inshallah, I just want to all of us make Fatiha for Maulana, for Allah give him the full recovery. As you know, he's in this situation in his illness. Allah Azza wa Jalla give him a full recovery. And as you know, the majority of people has been focusing there much, and to show the love and the dedication and loyalty to him for the service that he has done and is still doing for the Jama'ah. May Allah Azza wa Jalla reward him the best of it, and give him a long life, and whatever he left for us, Allah put barakah in it. Inshallah, you left from Fatiha for inshallah. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. يا شافي يا كافي أنت المعافي، يا شافي يا كافي أنت المعافي، يا شافي يا كافي أنت المعافي. اللهم نسألك باسمك العظيم الأعظم وباسمك اللطيف واسمك القوي المتين أن تشفيه أن تؤتيه شفاء كاملة يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم اشف كل مريض وارحم كل ميت. اللهم اشف كل مريض وارحم كل ميت. لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك إني كنت من الظالمين. وفوض أمري إلى الله إن الله بصير بالعباد. بألف ألف لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. حسبنا الله ونعم الوكيل، نعم المولى ونعم النصير. رب أني مسني الضر وأنت أرحم الراحمين. رب أني مسني الضر وأنت أرحم الراحمين. رب أني مسني الضر وأنت أرحم الراحمين. يا آمين يا رب العالمين. Inshallah, as we last in our chain or episode of this seerah, in which we said we want to link the seerah with our day-to-day life, and we last session we talked about Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam when he first received the revelation, and how he was living in Mecca, and and what was the lifestyle of Makkah at that time. It was full of idols. So the majority of people was mainly concentrate on the worshipping these idols, which is one of the biggest crime that a human being can do to his Lord, to worship something other than his Creator. And he sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, by being living on the kind of environment, he detested the life as a whole. He used to leave Makkah and go in the outskirts of Makkah, try to isolate himself and ponder upon Allah's creation, in which we spoke that it's very important. Sometimes you need to isolate yourself, to retreat, so that you can reflect, and from that reflection and that pondering, you are able to find a guidance. And he sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, that's what he did. He left Makkah, he used to leave Makkah, he go to the outskirts until on a day that Sayyidina Jibreel came to him, as we spoke last episode, our last bayan, that he came to him and said to him, Iqra, say Iqra, mean read, mean recite, mean learn, all these in one word, in Arabic word. It's one that makes the Arabic word, in Arabic language, a very beautiful language. One word can have a lot of meaning. As you have, for example, the name of lion. In Arabic language, lion have 6 names, depends on its position. When it's hunting, when it's laying down, when it's preying with predator, they give it different names. When it's running as well, they give it different names. So you can see it's one of the beauty of Arabic language. So Allah Azza wa Jalla chose the word Iqra, in which we can use as a learn, recite, So, and sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he replied by saying, وَمَا أَنَا بِقَارِئ. 3 times that I can't read. And we see that the first revelation that they revealed, and we spoke the connection between that specific verse, which is اقرأ باسم ربك الذي خلق خلق الإنسان من علق اقرأ وربك الأكرم الذي علم بالقلم علم الإنسان ما لم يعلم. How we should connect that to our day-to-day life, because this is what the Sahabas, this is what they're based upon these of learning, searching the truth, and and pondering, and all these things based on that word Iqra, in which the Ummah nowadays has been so lazy of doing that. We neither the religion that we have in our hands, to know the basic fundamental of the Sharia, to learn about the Sharia, so that this is the limits of Allah Azza wa Jalla, and this is the limit Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and that's the limit for human beings. So you give each and every one their due right. So people, even to know the basic fundamental, how to learn Sharia, and to understand the deen of Allah Azza wa Jalla, we are very lazy upon it. And especially in these last time that in the last day that we are living in, we are living on the last days when He Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam predicted that the time will come, people will be fighting to push each other to lead the prayer, because no one wants to lead the prayer, because he doesn't know what you're going to be saying on the prayer. The time will come due to the lack of knowledge of the basics of these. And we are living on this day and age where you can see this kind of things are happening. So this generation of us has been so neglect about the Sharia, about the learning about this deen. While the generation before, and the Sahabas, if you can imagine that the Sahabas, how they used to sit down with the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, there is no iPhone on those days, and there is no cam record, and there was no tape to record the words. The Sunnah Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam read a hadith, it goes straight to their mind, to their ear, and they memorize the hadith instantly. When the revelation came, their mind was so keen to understand and to learn. And when you struggle to learn, Allah opens for you. And when you are keen to learn and keen to understand, Allah is open. He mentioned that in the Quran. He said, وَالَّذِينَ جَاهَدُوا فِينَا لَنَهْدِيَنَّهُمْ سُبُلَنَا. And those who struggle towards us, we will show them the way. So whenever you struggle to attain knowledge, and whenever you struggle to attain something, Allah will put you in that. He will give you that knowledge. So the Sahaba, this is what they used to, they were able to, they have a pure heart, and they have a very, pure mind. Their mind was to learn about the deen and about the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Whatever single thing that he used to see, the books of hadith and the book of the seerah. If I tell you with these Sahabas, they used to sit down, and even the grey hair of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, they counted it. They know exactly how many, how many of them. Until they ask him this question, they said, why can we see you nowadays? You're having a grey hair. And he mentioned, he said, شيبتني هود وإخواته ولا وأخواته. شيبتني هود وأخواته. He said the Surah Al-Hud and its sisters, has made my hair grey, which is a waqi'ah, and إذا الشمس كورت والمرسلات, and إذا زلزلت. These are the surah of the surahs of the sisters of Surah Al-Hud. And this is how the Sahaba, this is how they are keen to understand and learn about this deen. While we have left, that's why we can have this legacy, and the tabi'een, and the tabi'een, those who follow them. If you look at the Bukhari, how Imam Bukhari and Muslim and Dawood and Ahmad bin Hanbal, all these big, I call them big generals, big, how they're able to learn, to search for knowledge. They used to leave and go and stay, go for miles away to a man who they know had a hadith, had heard a hadith from a one tabi, or one the tabi or tabi'in, just for example, from it could be from Mecca to Damascus, to Sham, or from Hijaz to Sham, or from Sham to somewhere else, just to learn one hadith. Just to learn one hadith, and how they come to collect these hadiths. And they used to say, imagine there's no means of transport, and there was no such what we call the means, the means of transport of this 21st century or 20th century. Where you can, in 3 hours time, you can cross, border lines and continents. But these people, they used to, their own means of transport was there, with a horse or camels or a donkey. But they used to go on and they collect these beautiful and most precious things that they left for us. And nowadays we keep them just on the drawers and somewhere else. We don't even keen to, with this technology that we have, even to open and learn and search about this deen, we have lost, all the, that enthusiasm and that kind of willingness, which is very dangerous for the Ummah. That's why you can see people are confused because of this. So this is how the Iqra, the Ummah was, they were were brilliant, and they were very, very success because they know what they claim to be. They know Islam, the religion of Islam as a whole. They know it, and they practice it. They know it and they practice it. Nowadays we don't know it. Even to practice is very difficult. So he sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he, as we mentioned last week, which I'm going to recapture because of the situation around, just to give a briefing so we can try to recapture what we have left last week, or what we have spoken last week, because as a majority of brothers, as you know. So inshallah, so this was the first revelation. So this ayah or this surah of Al-Alaq, when Allah Azza wa Jalla revealed it is a very important thing to ponder and think about it. And then he sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, as we mentioned, he came to the Prophet, to his wife Khadija radiallahu ta'ala anha, and explain what he has saw and what he saw in the Ghar Hira, and what he saw in the cave, and then how Sayyidina Khadija radiallahu ta'ala anha was able, or was told him sallallahu alayhi wasallam to stand fast, that this is it is a good thing. Allah will never let you down. It's not the jinn, it's not something that makes you come to people. This is the angel. And then how she took him sallallahu alayhi wasallam to Nuwayf, to her uncle, called Nuwayf, and this man was an old man at the time, and he was very well known with his knowledge about the Old Testament, the Injil and Torah, and he was a man of books, and when he sallallahu alaihi wasallam explained to him what he saw, he said, what came to you is what came to Musa and Isa and the prophets before you, and you are going to be the prophet, and that gave him a booster and confidence and he said, I wish I wish I was young, and I will be on your side and fight on your side, because you're going to be expelled here in this Makkah, in your place. And sallallahu alaihi wasallam, for his surprise, he said that. He said, yes, the wife told him, your people will fight you, because anyone who carry this message, or this kind of message, will always be fought. So you're going to be fought. So you have to prepare that psychologically. Because the truth, always, whenever you hold the truth in your hand, you always have a challenge. Because Shaitan will never leave you alone, because he wants his dominion in the world. And the haqq is Allah Azza wa Jalla. Whenever you hold the truth, you're always going to find a challenge. So, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, as we mentioned, also we took that as an example, the Khadija radiallahu ta'ala anha, when, she never exposed the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam to anyone else, but she looked to a person who she knows has a knowledge of it. And this is very, very good and a good lesson to our sisters, our wives. Not everything which is in the internal house that you can go and expose outside. If you want to expose, look to the people who has a knowledge of it. Allah Azza wa Jalla, when He mentioned it, فَاسْأَلُوا أَهْلَ الذِّكْرِ كُنْتُمْ لَا تَعْلَمُونَ. If you don't know anything, don't ask those people who knows it. Don't just spread the rumors in the town or in the city about what's going inside the house. And this is how he sallallahu alayhi wa sallam stayed and the revelation started coming bit by bit. The second revelation to be revealed was Surah Al-Muddathir. When he came back from the ghar, he felt very, because what he saw was something extraordinary, something beyond a human imagination. To see an image of Sayyidina Jibreel alayhi salam on that, on the full scale, which whenever you look around, you can see the whole sky is full of that, of that body, in which, subhanallah, which Allah Azza wa Jalla, put in the, picture it in the Quran when he say, وَلَقَدْ رَآهُ بِالْأُفُقِ الْمُبِينِ وَمَا هُوَ عَلَى الْغَيْبِ بِضَنِينٍ وَمَا هُوَ بِقَوْلِ الشَّيْطَانِ الرَّجِيمِ. And Allah Azza wa Jalla mentioned about this in Surah Al-Shamsu Kubirat. So, and then Sayyidina Jibreel come to him again, say, Ya ayyuhal muddathir, say, tell him to get up. Ya muddathir, leave your blanket, because he was covered. He came to the Prophet to his wife saying, Dathiruni, zammiluni, cover me, feeling very cold, and then sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, Jibreel came to him, say, Ya ayyuhal muddathir, after being given, read, learn, because when you read and you learn, then you have to, you have to warn people. It's not just learn or read or know something and keep it for yourself. You have to share it. Islam is about sharing. Allah told him, فَأَنذِرْ وَرَبَّكَ فَكَبِّرْ وَثِيَابَكَ فَطَهِّرْ وَالرُّجْزَ فَاهْجُرْ وَلَا تَمْنُنْ تَسْتَكْثِرْ مِنْ رَبِّكَ فَاصْبِرْ. These are these verses. It is Allah mentions Surah Al-Muddathir. They are by the they are the second verses that they revealed after Iqra bismi rabbika alladhi khalaq. And what Allah Azza wa Jalla told him there to raise up and warn people and clean your your clothes, meaning keep the clothes very clean, keep your heart very clean, and if these are the فَثِيَابَكَ فَطَهِّرْ and وَالرُّجْزَ فَاهْجُرْ, and these idle things, put them away, desert them, leave them aside. وَلِرَبِّكَ فَاصْبِرْ, and you must be patient towards Allah Azza wa Jalla. This deen needed patience. And when you're making dua, you're calling people towards Allah, you need a patience. Without patience, you can't do anything. With the patient, you will be able to win the heart and the mind of people. And nowadays, people, they lose patience. People no longer don't have any patience, especially the people who are calling towards Allah Azza wa Jal. And and this patience, it perhaps is a half of the deen itself. The patience is a half of the deen, because you cannot do anything in Islam without patience. If you're not patient, even you can't pray. If you're not patient, you can't even be with people. And this is what Allah Azza wa Jalla told him there, to be patient, because there will be more difficult time to come, which is, we are living in such a days nowadays, but we need to be patient. We need to be patient, especially when it comes to Islam. People misquoting Islam. The Muslim has been tried in each and every corner of the world. Each and every corner of the world, regardless the background, their race, everywhere from Burma to Central Africa to Sham, to all these places, they have been under these operation and everything. And we need to be patient and make dua for these people who Allah Azza wa Jalla, because this is what the Sahaba, this is what they have been persecuted, just because وَمَا نَقَمُوا مِنْهُمْ إِلَّا أَنْ يُؤْمِنُوا بِاللَّهِ الْعَزِيزِ الْحَمِيدِ. And the people of Allah always been persecuted, people of religion always been persecuted. And Allah mentioned in Surah Al-Buruj, هَلْ أَتَاكَ حَدِيثُ الْجُنُودِ, when he say وَالسَّمَاءِ ذَاتِ الْبُرُوجِ وَالْيَوْمِ الْمَوْعُودِ وَشَاهِدٍ وَمَشْهُودٍ قُتِلَ أَصْحَابُ الْأُخْدُودِ النَّارِ ذَاتِ الْوَقُودِ إِذْ هُمْ عَلَيْهَا قُعُودٌ وَهُمْ عَلَى مَا يَفْعَلُونَ بِالْمُؤْمِنِينَ شُهُودٌ وَمَا نَقَمُوا مِنْهُمْ إِلَّا أن يؤمنوا إلا أن يؤمنوا بالله العزيز الحميد الذي له ملك السماوات والأرض. يعني وما نقموا منهم إلا أن يؤمنوا بالله العزيز الحميد. So these people, they were in the time of the Prophet Isa alayhi salam. So they were followers of Isa, the people of Isa alayhi salam, and they have been persecuted. So because of the, just because they believe in Allah Azza wa Jalla. So you can see the religion of Islam need patience, and it need sabr. Sabr we call in English patience. So he sallallahu alayhi wa sallam then he start calling towards Islam after these verses. Khadija was the first believer. And then, in the house, she was the first believer. And in the women's side, and the first believer on the men's side was Sayyidina Abu Bakr Siddiq. And then Sayyidina Ali, at that time he wasn't much, he wasn't grown up yet. He was like 8 years old. He was like 8 or 13 years old, I think. Well, so then comes Zayd, the one who used to be his adopted son. And this is how he started warning the family, inside the family first, before he spread outside was the family and the loved ones. You have to warn your people who surrounds you before you go out, which our nowadays people, they don't do. Our Muslim brothers nowadays, somebody can stand up and pray while the kids are working, what the wife is cooking there, and the kids around there perhaps watching PlayStation, or watching TV, and you pray alone, you finish, you don't call them to pray. And when she cooked, finish the food, she call you, come to the table, let's eat. Which we shouldn't. We should be, as we sit down on one table and eat, this is how we should be, to pray together. Because we feed our believers, we have to feed our souls. How we should feed our souls is through the remembrance of Allah Azza wa Jalla. And the first key for the remembrance of Allah Azza wa Jalla is salat. Is salat. But you are very preoccupied what kind of food she's going to cook. But you never ask her, have you prayed? Have you made your salat? Leave cooking, let's pray together. As she doesn't like to see you watching TV while the dinner on the table, you also say, okay, I'm not gonna eat, I'm not gonna eat your food until we pray. We create this kind of harmony inside the house. So the children will grow up and see mom and dad praying together, and everything must come to stand still. No TV, no PlayStation, nothing at house. Because we're gonna be sitting, before we eat, we have to, we're gonna eat, and then as we eat together, then we're gonna pray together. Then everyone is gonna go do their hobbies. Those who gonna play with their toys, those who gonna be doing that. But at least these two things must be in cahoot. Because the religion of Islam, the religion is practical. It's something that you need to practice. It's not just vocal, you need to practice it. So he, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he warned first to his close relatives, mainly his wife, and those who are under him, like Zayd, and then his best friend, Siddiq al-Ummah, who's Sayyidina Abu Bakr radiallahu ta'ala anhum ajma'in. So this is how he, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, start making da'wah in Mecca secretly for 3 years. He never just come and shout in the street, you have to believe in Allah and everything. No. He start making the da'wah and the propagation of the da'wah in the secret, secrecy between people around. And this is how the things start going on for 3 years. For 3 years. And on these 3 years, he was able to get some people around from the poor people to the rich people, because Sayyidina Siddiq radiallahu ta'ala anhu was very rich. He was one of the one of the richest people of the time in Mecca there, and he accepted him, and he and he doesn't know. I mean, that's why he was one of the built people of this ummah. And then the rumors start spreading all over the Mecca about this revelation, about the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Then people around start seeing changes in their house. When you have your child, you start missing him, because they used to go and listen to the revelation. So they start following to know what is going on, until they realize that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and then Allah Azza wa Jalla told him later on that you need to propagate. يعني فاصدع بما تؤمر وأعرض عن المشركين. Now Allah, after 3 years, Allah told him that no more secrecy, just open up. Just open up, and he started propagating the da'wah of Islam, and from there on, he's the people of Mecca, the leaders of Mecca, who used to be used to be his friend, most of them turned against him, especially his uncles. We have Abu Lahab, we have Abu Jahl, we have these Walid ibn Mughira, and Al-Asi ibn Wa'il, and Harith ibn Qais, and Aswad ibn Abdul Muttalib. These are the people. They were very, because they were leaders, and they were looking at him like somebody who came to overthrow their authority. Him like he came to take over us. This young man raised among us, how are you going to come with this kind of ideas that we never, and they start making, fighting for the interest, because they knew he was Amin. They knew how he grew up. He sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Everybody witnessed that, and everybody, confessed how he was. But because of when he spoke the truth, then the enemies start coming out one by one, and these people were determined to silence him by any means, whether they silenced him or killed him, or to get rid of him, or he had to abandon the da'wah. But sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he had a haqq, he had the truth, and there's nothing gonna stop that thing happening. And they start coming, number one is to offer him positions. They said to him, if you want to be rich, you're going to be one of the richest men among us. And if you want to have our authority, we will make you the Sayyid, the leader of the Quraysh. Whatever decision was to be taken by you. And they offered him a lot of concessions, so that he can leave this kalima la ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Because they come to his uncle, his uncle Abu Talib. They said, your child has been spoiled everything. He becoming something, new ideas, new ideology that never happened to our people never know about this. Our father, our grandfather never spoke about this. And can you please stop him? And they say, look, if he wants this and that, we're going to give him. If you want to, if you want a position, we're going to give him the highest position. If you want to be rich, we're going to give him the highest, the richest man in the whole Mecca. Whatever he wants, we will make him, we'll make him what he wants. But we don't want this kalima la ilaha illallah to be propagated here, because they're going to spoil our position. And Abu Talib went to him, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, to offer him these proposals to, that the Quraysh has spoken, And he looked his uncle, he said, look, my uncle, if they put the sun on my right hand side and the moon on my left hand side, for me to leave this message, I will never leave it. Say, Wallahu law wada'a, say, Ya Am, Wallahi law wada'a ash-shams an yamini wal qamara an yasari ala an atruka hadha al-amru ma taraktuhu hatta yudhhirahu Allah aw ahlaka duna. Say, I will never abandon it until Allah Azza wa Jalla raise it up and propagate it, or everything perish. I will never leave this message. That was how Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, how he was azim. He had the azima, the determination about this. That's why when you have the haqq, don't make any concession on the haqq. Be straightforward. Be steadfast. Because people, they try to shake him. If he was looking for position, or he was like a revolution, as the people called in Mecca, that was a kind of social revolution, he would have get this position. Because nowadays we can see most of the revolution around the world. People, as soon as they offer the position on the government, they leave the party, they join the government, and all these kind of things. But he offered all this. He offered money, he offered position, he offered all this. He said, no, I don't want it. I want people to accept La ilaha illallah, and I'm the messenger of Allah. And from there on, he was exposed to us, and what they did, because his family was a very noble family in Mecca, and what they did, and he was protected, because the family, the Bani Hashim, was very strong family. It was a part of the Quraysh clan, and they couldn't reach him because his father as well, his uncle Abu Talib as well, give him that guarantee that as long as I'm alive, no one will reach you. You can propagate and preach your religion as much as you want. And then what they did, they turned up to go to the people who, the weak one in the society, the weak family, those who join him, those who come to Islam, people like Ammar ibn Yasir, he was persecuted. They went to kiss, his mom and his dad, and Sumayya and Yasir. They took them and they killed both of them. They are the first people to be killed in Islam. Yasir and Sumayya. So they start persecuting them. They start imprisoning them, and and you can see how they do to Sayyidina Bilal as well. He used to be a slave, and then although he was physically enslaved, but his heart was very open. His heart was so he was free to accept Islam. And this is how the Sahabas, they have been living in Mecca. And these people now, they becoming very harsh to the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. And they used to mock on him. And they used to laugh at him. And when the people around, whenever he was reciting Quran, they used to come and interrupt him when he was reciting Quran. And when he was making the sujood, they used to come and try to put some things on top of him. This is how bad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam suffered this is how he was being, and the Muslims in Mecca, just because they are propagating and they are talking about Islam, they're talking about the kalima la ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So this is one of the things that we have to be very, especially in this day and age, whenever somebody becoming Islam, especially these new converts or new reverts, they always have this kind of challenge. You have challenges inside and outside, but Allah, when He put nur on your heart and He have put iman in your heart, you will never give any concession to it. So this is how Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam and the Sahaba, they start for the period of 3 years, 3 years until they announce and they proclaim the kalima, with the order of Allah Azza wa Jalla in Mecca. And they have been persecuted because of that, but they keep preaching until Allah Azza wa Jalla ordered them to leave. Inshallah, I'm going to come here today, I'm going to stop here today. So next week, in next session, inshallah, we'll be talking about the hijrah, the fast migration of the Muslim from Mecca to Habasha. If Allah give us long life until then, we ask Allah Azza wa Jalla to give us a long life until then. and to forgive our sins and to give Maulana long life and recovery. The whole hearts and minds are in there with him in everywhere, every corner of the world. People are praying for you, and we are praying for you here in St. Anne's and in everywhere. May Allah Azza wa Jalla give you full recovery. And we could say, Amen, what we can do now is to make dua. Dua is the only, the silah al-mu'min, is the only weapon for a believer. May Allah Azza wa Jalla give you everything you're asking for, inshallah. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك واشهد ان لا اله الا انت استغفرك واتوب اليك. الفاتحه.
I just wanted to ask about new Muslims, the wisdom of how they were sort of introduced to Islam and how they kept their faith in those 3 years of difficulty. How could we use that wisdom in new converts of today?
Okay, the brother was asking here about how we can link between those new converts on the time of Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam with nowadays new converts. Islam, these people, those who were the new convert of those days, they never, when they came to Islam, they were making for change. They were looking for a change within. They realized the peaceful, and they realized the peace, and they realized that the love and the power of Islam, and they want to share that. And they were persecuted because of that. And they were living in the society, but they never took Islam and run and look the rest as the people who are, people who leftovers, or perhaps the people of kuffar, as we call it, and the mushrik and all this kind of thing. They never give them anything, but they were willing to sacrifice their lives to bring these people out of that. Out of the sinking boat, because the Makkah was, was on that situation. The society was sinking. So those people who were able to come out, they were able to, or those who Allah Azza blessed to see the reality, they were able to sacrifice their life to propagate and to show them how beautiful Islam, although they have a lot of challenge. But some others were able, because of that persecution, they were able to attract more people by dialogue with them, by talking with them, not by isolating them. Like, there are a lot of people nowadays, when they come to Islam, when they come to Islam, they cut off with the society that they used to live, which is un-Islamic. Because the Seerah cannot tell you this. But they were living in the society and trying to dialogue with the people there and showing the proof. Showing them the proof to stop worshipping the idols and try to worship the only one of God. And they were making dialogue with these people. They never isolated them and never called them names and tried to look at them as people who went to Jahannam and give them these visas. This one going to Jahannam, this one going to Sa'ir, and that one going to the, So they never do that. But they wanted to explain and show them how beautiful Islam was. And nowadays people, when they come to Islam, they caught up with the society, they caught up with the family, they caught up with their mom, they start saying, I'm not going to talk to a kafir. This is a very, very wrong method. The Sahabas and the Tabi'in, the Sahaba, they never do this. But they used to sit down with their parents. Or they talk to them because of your good behavior and your way of approaching them, giving them their due respect, that makes change in their hearts. Because this is what they're able to do. So that's why we advise people, those who come new convert and deal with those people who revert to Islam, not to cut off from your families, and not to cut off from your, for your relatives, you know, in country, you should be approaching them and try to be more lenient, more respectful, and try to share what you have with them. Don't leave them drawing on that boat. You know, this is selfishness. I call it a selfishness, and because as soon you are saved and you turn your back, you're going somewhere else, and you left the people are drawing there. It's not the sunnah. It's not the what the Sayyid sallallahu alaihi wasallam has mentioned to us, and give us these kind of examples. Yeah.